I made the decision on that day that he was going to learn what it was like to be irresponsible. And he had to take his test without that math book. He barely passed that test, but I tell you what, that child now gets straight A's in math. Hey guys, I want to give you 3 best practices for new moms raising boys. My assistant and my content manager, Milan, just had babies, and I'm sure they're in a whirlwind of wondering what to do. If you guys have been following my page for a while, you guys know that I have 4 sons, and it certainly wasn't easy raising them, but I have learned a few lessons. So I want to give you some tips on what you need to do to make sure that you're teaching your boys, your kids responsibility, and teaching them some money management. One of the things you can do to teach your kids responsibilities is to make sure that they see the consequences of their actions. As parents, we want to protect our kids. We're always looking to drive their homework to school if they left it at home. If they left a book, we want to go take the book. We want to always make excuses for our kids and not make our kids look bad. But the faster you allow your kid to look bad, the sooner your kid is going to learn responsibility. Let me give you an example. I will never forget my son Carrington left his math book at home on the day that he was supposed to have an open book math test. It would have been real easy for me to drive that math book to school, but I made the decision on that day that he was going to learn what it was like to be irresponsible. And he had to take his test without that math book. He barely passed that test, but I tell you what, that child now gets straight A's in math. So having little lessons like that will teach your kids responsibility. The other thing that you need to do is you need to teach your sons how to be a man. The worst thing in the world is for your sons to grow up and they've not been taught those things that the average partner would want them to know. I teach my sons at a very young age how to open the car door for me, how to take the groceries out of the car, how to gas up my car. And I expect them to continue to do that for me. I expect them to continue to do that for the person that they're with. And the reason why I teach them that is because I am the first person that is going to teach them how to be respectful towards a woman. So if I tolerate that, they will do that to their wives. And you know what those wives will sit back and say? Oh my gosh, who raised that guy? Well, I can certainly tell you something. My daughter-in-law, as you guys know, Carlton was married almost 6 months ago. And one of the things that my daughter-in-law has said to me, thank you for raising Carlton right, because he looks after his wife. And as a mom, that really does make me proud. So make sure that you teach your sons the things that you would want a man to do for you. The other thing that's really important is to make sure that you don't always make things perfect for your kids. When you make things perfect for your kids don't learn how to handle situations. So what happens if they left their lunch at home and they don't have any lunch money? Are you gonna run down to the school and bring them lunch and bring them lunch money? Or are you gonna make them speak up and allow them to maybe ask their friend for half a sandwich or ask somebody to borrow money? Not making things always perfect for your kids are gonna teach your kids how to think. I used to strategically do things to make my kids think on their own. Some people may say, Carla, that's not being a good parent. Oh, I think it was being a good parent. So for example, when I would help my kids get their football bags together, I would leave part of their gear out. Why? Because they would make them responsible to start thinking on their own, looking for their gear, and not depending on me. So when you teach your kids responsibility, when you teach your kids through lessons, when you teach them when they're younger, they fall off a curve. If you wait until they're adults, 18, 21, they may fall off a 10-story building and they just might not make it. If you like these tips or want more tips on how to make your kids responsible, comment or click on the link below.